Well, good morning everybody, or whenever you're watching this. There has been a long pause because I'm moving house, so I've been a tad busy. Anyway, as you already guessed, the title of today's video is really a question for Jehovah's Witnesses, but not only Jehovah's Witnesses, because really anybody who believes in the Bible and of the God of the Bible is, why did Jehovah, the God of the Bible, create dinosaurs, and then why did he then destroy the dinosaurs? When I was at Jehovah's Witnesses, the dinosaurs were like the Brontosaurus in the room. Whereupon we didn't really ever go. They acknowledged they existed, but apart from that, that was it. There was no explanation of why they did exist, and no explanation of why they no longer existed, why they're all extinct. It was a subject which nobody really wanted to touch. And I don't think that that's gone away. I think the modern Jehovah's Witnesses today still don't really want to go down the dinosaur road, and it still remains the Brontosaurus in the room. Now, why is that? Well, because it doesn't fit into the narrative of how Jehovah's Witnesses or anybody in the Bible believes, if they believe the Genesis account. It doesn't fit into the narrative of imagining that they were dinosaurs, either in the Garden of Eden or externally waiting for anybody to leave the Garden of Eden, or whether there'd be dinosaurs, imagining dinosaurs in a post-Armageddon paradise. It doesn't fit into the narrative at all. Now, there's one thing Jehovah's Witnesses don't dispute, which there are agreement with scientists on this one, is that it appears that humans as we know them today, as we see ourselves today, didn't have the same timeline as dinosaurs. Apparently dinosaurs became extinct, millions of years or thousands of years or whatever before humans came onto the scene. So in that way, at least, the Jehovah's Witnesses would agree with the scientists in that respect, when in many other cases they totally disagree with them completely, especially when it comes to the timeline of the flood and of creation, for instance. Now, the interesting thing is that when it comes to creation, when it comes to the creative days, when I was brought up a witness, that we were told that each creative day was 7,000 years long. And when you think about all the creative days to get to the point of man being on the earth, it's such a small avenue of time. It's ridiculous that we ever believed that, but we did. And then all of a sudden the society changed it when they had the replacement to the Aid to Bible Understanding book. They got those 2 volumes out, and at that point they changed the creative days from 7,000 years to thousands of years, and that's when I realised that something smelt rotten within the organisation. That's when I had my first doubts, because of the creative days. Anyhow, I would actually submit that the creative days aren't thousands of years long, but probably millions of years long when we think about trying to formulate this planet and everything else on it up to the stage of man being on it. It's been going on for millions of years, and scientists would agree with that, but obviously Jehovah's Witnesses still think it was all made in thousands of years, which is complete utter nonsense. But anyhow, what we can agree on is that the dinosaurs came and went during the creative day process. So during God making during this creative day process, during these thousands of years, God obviously created the dinosaurs. He created them. There's no doubt about that, because all life comes from God. So he created them. Now, imagine this, for instance. Imagine you were a teacher and you had a class of children. Dinosaurs didn't exist. Have never existed. And he said to the children, I want you all to draw an animal which doesn't exist, and I want you to, show it eating and feeding, doing the things that animals normally do. They normally just eat, shit and shave, and they don't shave and go to sleep. So you know, the teacher gets all the drawings in, and then all of a sudden, yeah, the little furry animal eating a plant, little hairy animal eating a bit of grass, tall animal eating some leaves from a tree because he's quite tall, can do that. And oh my god, what's this? There's this horrific looking animal which has massive back legs, a big long tail, really muscular, little horrible little front legs which are good for nothing, but the biggest jaw you've ever seen, the sharpest teeth you've ever seen. And these two pictures, he's running after other animals, and this the second picture shows him actually biting another animal in half and chewing his head off. Now imagine the teacher getting hold of that. The first thing the teacher would do, probably calling the school counsellor, calling their parents, you know, that there's something wrong. You know, we think with your child, all the rest of the children are drawing animals that are eating plants. Your child has created this horrific monster here who's actually tearing to bits another creature. You know, potentially they may end up being, you know, a mass killer. Who knows? You know, what's going on in this child's mind? Yet, bizarrely, that's what God did. When you look at the dinosaurs, they weren't all lovely Brontosauruses and Stegosauruses just eating plants willy-nilly. No, there was a whole group of animals, dinosaurs, who were created for the one purpose and purpose only of eating the other dinosaurs. Yes, ripping them apart. Those big teeth, that big jaw and all those sharp teeth are there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to rip to shit any other animals out there. And of course the Tyrannosaurus Rex, those big legs, you know, he could outrun anything. Yet God created the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and not just in one location. We know that the dinosaur remains are found all over the earth. So there wasn't just one, you know, one origin. There was quite a few Tyrannosaurus Rexes which God created. Now this doesn't fit into the narrative of a God of love, because Jehovah's Witnesses believe that in the Garden of Eden, all the animals got on absolutely fantastic. The lion was a plant eater. He could sit next to a lamb not thinking, well, that's tasty, meat's on the menu tonight, boys. You know, he wouldn't do that. Maybe he'd share with the lamb, you know, I've brought some apples here, have an apple. Okay, a banana then if you don't like animals. You know, but something like that. There'd be this relationship with the animals, and it was only because of man's sin. Oh, man's sins, it's responsible for everything. Because of eating from the fruit, all of a sudden the balance and order in the whole universe was put out of sync, and as a result the animals started to do things contrary to nature, and that was they started to eat each other and tear each other limb from limb. You know, we're to believe that when you look at the jaws and teeth of a lion, that they were designed to eat plants. I don't think so. And I don't think since the flood times, you know, over the past 4,000 years or whatever it is, or maybe go back 6,000 years to Adam, I don't really think that you know, that all of a sudden those teeth have got sharper and sharper, you know, developing a taste for food. I think this is a process which they were probably designed to be like that, if we believe that God designed them, that they were made to be ripping apart, but it doesn't fit into the Witnesses' narrative. So let's just go down the road and just say, yes, the lion was designed to eat plants and leaves and carrots and God knows whatever. And they're in the paradise. The same thing's going to happen once, you know, 7 billion people are wiped off from this planet, that the lions will revert to their Edenic state, and they will just go back to, you know, cuddling up next to a lamb and eating bananas. This is what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. You know, there'll be no, you know, don't be a pack of lions, you know, attacking a little grazing animal, and you know, a buffalo and tearing it down, or whatever it is, or a bison. You know, that won't be happening in the paradise because it never happened in the Garden of Eden. But unfortunately, they cannot get away from the fact that dinosaurs, which predated Adam and Eve, clearly were built for the sole purpose, some of them, of ripping apart other animals. You know, those teeth, you know, that jaw, there's one purpose only. They weren't, you know, they weren't used to rip, you know, leaves from trees. They were there to rip flesh and bone and skin. That's what they were made for. So why would God do that? Why would God of love create an animal as ferocious as some of the animals that we know existed as dinosaurs? The thing about it is that you have to think to yourself, why did God create dinosaurs in the first place? Well, the answer to that I was given a long time ago, and maybe it still stays the same, is that when God was creating the earth, he needed a hell of a lot of dinosaur dung to fertilise the planet. Yes, this was the reason that I was given as a young child, saying, yeah, they needed all that dinosaur poo to be all over the world so that, you know, plants would grow, blah 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 blah, and it was all part of the purpose. Then once they fulfilled that purpose, once there was enough dinosaur poo all over the planet, then God said, thank you very much, thank you for serving the purpose. Now it's time for me to make you extinct. I don't buy that one, because obviously, you know, with all things is possible with God, and if he's made, you know, the sun, moon, the stars, the gravity, you know, plants, whatever, I don't think it was beyond the realms of, you know, that God in the process could have plants growing themselves without dinosaur dung. You know, lots of plants today grow without dinosaur dung very well. You know, I don't get it. I'm not buying that one for a single second. So why God created dinosaurs is still not explained. If you believe in God, if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in creation, and if you're a Jehovah's Witness, explain to me why dinosaurs created. Why were they created to be eating other dinosaurs? It doesn't fit the narrative of a God who keeps on telling us that he is a God of love. These animals, I don't know, they're coming from some very, very disturbed mind. You know, when it came to, you know, to say, you know, you think somebody like, maybe a guy like Satan would create those, and then God created the lamb, and, you know, something like that. It seems a bit odd, something back to it. But of course, we're led to believe that God made all the animals, so what was going on there? Now, the thing about it, of course, is that they're no longer here. The dinosaurs were wiped off from this planet and made extinct way before Adam and Eve, way before humans as we know them were even here, if we believe in evolutionary terms. So what happened to them? Well, let's think about it. They died out during the creative days process. So this is when God is absolutely hands-on. He's on this 24/7 creating the earth to finish it off with his, the icing on the cake, Adam and Eve. So they died during his watch. What happened? Why did God destroy the animals? You know, destroy the dinosaurs? God clearly did. We know this for two reasons. Number one, because scientists believe that dinosaurs died very, very quickly. There was a global cataclysmic event. It may have been a meteorite that hit the earth, which put something into the atmosphere, and they all choked to death, or made it too cold, or made it too hot, or whatever. All the plants died, which they relied from. Once they died, the plant-eating dinosaurs died, so Tyrannosaurus rex couldn't eat the plant-eating dinosaurs because they were all dead. So some global cataclysmic event happened, which God must have been responsible for. Because I do not believe, if God's on watching the planet on a day-by-day basis, that even if this this rogue asteroid hit the planet, that God, being God, didn't have the power to say, oh, what's going on here? Oh, I'll destroy that out in space. Clearly, whatever destroyed the dinosaurs and the earth at that time, God was responsible for. He wiped out potentially billions of creatures during the dinosaur age. Now, why would we say God could do that? Because he did it again. God did it again in the flood. Oh, why the flood, everybody? Let's just remember what happened in the flood. God used a cataclysmic event in a very short space of time to destroy every living thing on this earth. He looked at what he'd made, he regretted it, and then he went, oh, there's Noah. There's Noah, a righteous man. Imagine if Noah was a pimp. And Noah's wife, who we still don't know her name, was a madam of a brothel. Imagine if the three lads were actually drug dealers or drunkards, and the three wives were prostitutes. Then God would have looked on the earth and say, no, Noah's just as bad as them. There's nobody righteous in the earth. Right, I'm just going to wipe off the whole lot again. I'm just going to destroy everything by a cataclysmic event. No ark, no nothing. They're all dead. And once the waters have gone away, I'll start all over again. Maybe this is history repeating itself. Maybe millions of years ago, the time of the dinosaurs, maybe waiting to be discovered, are a sort of prehistoric Adam and Eve. Maybe this has all happened once before, that God puts, humans on the earth. It all went tits up and decided there wasn't any Noah, so he decided global cataclysmic event, a big meteorite that will wipe off every living creature on this earth and start all over again. I don't really know. All we know that God was responsible for making them and destroying them, because he destroyed every living creature during the flood, apart from the ones that luckily went into the ark, if we're to believe the narrative of the Genesis story. And we know he's going to do it again by destroying, according to Jehovah's Witnesses, another 7 billion people on this earth. A bit more selective this time, saving the animals but killing off the people. Why couldn't he have done that in the flood? Why during the flood did he not just kill the people and save the animals? Well, God knows, because God being God, he can do what he likes. So anyway, here we go. It's a bit like Trump. Trump tells us how good he is, how he's the best president ever, how he knows big words, how he knows he's the best in everything, and people believe what he says. They don't examine what he's done and realise he's just full of bullshit, but they believe it. And this is the same with the Bible. The guy in the Bible keeps telling us he's a God of love, he's this, mercy. He keeps telling us what he does. But once you take off the God specs and look at what he does, you think, my God, he is a monster. He is a monster. Love doesn't really come into what happened in the flood. Love didn't come into the creation of the dinosaurs, and love did not come into to making every single one of them extinct. The funny thing is, Jehovah's Witnesses point to the scripture in the Bible where it refers to showing that we are in the last days, that the scripture that man is ruining the earth. Well, I kid you not, the person who's ruining the earth more than anybody else has been God, not man. He wiped out. He made extinct all the dinosaurs. In a very short space of time, they all became extinct. I know man has been responsible for ensuring that species today have been made extinct, but not the way that God did. When we look at the earth being polluted, there's been more catastrophic events happen due to volcanoes blowing up, affecting crops the other side of the planet, than anything man has ever done. So man's been getting a bad rap all the time, but when you examine what God has done, God's planet, the way he destroyed all those billions of creatures during the Noah's flood, my God, how is he any worse than man? He clearly isn't. Yet because he's God, we always have to make excuses for him. Now, just like Trump is, the cult of Trump, you get people say he's the best president ever, Trump 2020. They don't see the reality because they don't want to face reality, and this is the problem today. People who believe in the God, who believe in the Bible, want to worship in God, don't want to face the reality of really the reality of him being a monster, being the great destroyer, the great destroyer of animals and men. If we think about, just a quick point here, let's think about the inauguration of the temple, how many thousands of innocent creatures were put to death, sacrifices. Think of how many innocent creatures were put to death to make atonement for sins year after year after year. And let's just say, why the animals? Why do that? Why cause them that misery? Why slit their throats? Why cut them up? Why do this? Why drown them in the flood? Why make all the dinosaurs extinct? This is not a God of love. So you answer me that. So anyway, if you want to keep on worshipping this guy, that's up to you. But this guy here's got out of worshipping that guy a long, long time ago. And so let's have a moment's thought for all those extinct dinosaurs. Well, that's it. Let's have another moment for those animals that killed in the flood. That's it too. And let's have a moment to think if Jehovah's Witnesses are right, of the 7 billion people are going to be put to death at Armageddon, including me. Anyway, see you later. Bye-bye.